3. Excellent. Thank you so much. All right. I'm sorry about that. I was looking away from my computer and I wasn't looking at the chat comments, but I thank you for submitting the chat comments and letting me know that the sound was not working. So I had to unplug my microphone and plug it back in, and I think we are good right now. Excellent. All right. So as I was saying before, this class is an example of what we do in the TradeStation Masterclass on You Can Trade. You Can Trade is more like an educational platform, and you can go there and visit the 2 channels that TradeStation hosts. There's 2 of them. We have the Getting Started with TradeStation, and we have the TradeStation Masterclass. So depending on the level of knowledge you have on the platform, you're going to want to join one of these channels. Of course, the Getting Started with TradeStation is a more simple way of presenting the platform and showing you basics on how to do simple things like charting. If you want to place a trade, if you want to monitor your positions or your orders, that's where the TradeStation Getting Started channel comes into play. But once you have a good handle on the TradeStation platform, then we have the TradeStation Masterclass. We go into more intricate topics, things such as some specialized charting techniques. Maybe we go over some of the custom orders available, and in addition to that, we have this class, which is Ask the Experts. It's an open session, so you come here and you ask any questions you have about the TradeStation platform. As I said before, this class occurs on a weekly basis, but inside of the TradeStation Masterclass channel that we are hosting on You Can Trade. So if you haven't had a chance to go there, I want to invite everyone and encourage everyone to go to youcantrade.com and visit the TradeStation channels in there. What we've done today is that we've hooked up our TradeStation Masterclass channel to the YouTube channel so you can get a taste, an idea of what we do here and Ask the Experts. So again, this is an open session for you to come in and ask any questions related to the platform. So we're going to take the next few minutes or a few seconds for you to type in the questions. I'll be looking at the chat window and making sure that I can answer those questions live. We're going to concentrate today on the TradeStation desktop. It's the one you install on your computer. We have 2 other platforms, the web trading platform and the mobile app, which I don't have hooked up here to this computer. So even though I may be able to answer some questions on those platforms, I may not be able to show you right here on the screen, but let's go ahead and get started. I know that I saw some questions here on You Can Trade. Let me see if I can just answer them just a moment. And this is when I do a class. I forgot my glasses in the car, so I apologize if I have to squint my eyes to see the font here. Okay, so the first question is from Kirill. He's asking the question right here on You Can Trade. He's asking, how do I increase the value of my simulation account? Great question. Everybody knows here that we have a trading simulator that you use on your account. In fact, in all my classes, I say, if you're going to practice trading functionality, make sure that you're connected to the simulator. The least you want to do is, practice functionality with real money. If something goes wrong, there's no turning back. So always when you're learning and you're training on TradeStation, make sure you go to the simulator. So Kirill's question is, okay, we start off with a default amount of money. How do we reset it? Or how do we reset the account activity? Maybe you want to start from scratch and you want to erase everything. Well, that's very easily done if you come over here to your TradeStation account. Let me pull up a browser here. Let me go here to my TradeStation website. That's where you go and access the simulator. And at the very top of TradeStation, you have to click on Login. And from Login, you go to the Client Center. All right. I'm going to enter my username and password here. Okay, once it goes to the Client Center, you're going to have to go here to the Accounts tab right here at the top. And once you go to Accounts, notice that on the left nav, you have an option that is Simulated Accounts. You click there, And then it allows you to manage your simulated accounts, all of them. Notice that I have Forex, equities, and futures. I have some buying power, but I can just check the ones that I want to reset. Let's say that I want to do my equities. I click next, and then I can select the option to reset balances and remove all positions if I want to, or if you just want to add funds, you can do it here as well. If you're learning to trade, maybe this is not a very good tool because there's no reset button in a real account. So if you really want to learn about trading, try to avoid resetting your account as much as you can. At the very beginning, it may be appropriate, especially if you want to match your simulated account to your live account, so that you have a more realistic expectations of what to see on your TradeStation. There's no point, on simulate trading on $1 million if all you have in your account is 5,000. So sometimes, if you want to match your live account with your simulated account, this is the perfect place to do that. But again, we all wish we had a reset button in a live account, and that is not possible. All right, so let's take a look at another question. I'm going to hear you. No sound. Okay. Okay. Perfect. All right. I see your comment, Phil H. I'm not sure what you mean by, is that what this is? Yeah, this is Ask the Experts. If that's the question, I'm not sure if that's what you're asking, but hopefully you can hear me. We were just talking about connecting it to YouTube so that you can get, the experience on both environments. Let me see right here in YouTube. I see the comments about the sound not working. Tough, to stay in shape, and now with the coronavirus pandemic, I've been trying to stay home and eat healthy, so that's a good point. Thank you, and I hope that everyone is also doing well, and you're also staying safe from this terrible pandemic. All right, so more questions. Let's see. We have a few people here on YouTube. If you've been using TradeStation for a while, I'm pretty sure that you have questions about the functionality. So use the chat window to submit those questions. I'm going to give you guys a few minutes so you can think about what you've done on TradeStation and what is it that you want to ask a question on. Okay, whatever it is. Well, the markets are going to drop below 19,000. This is the Dow that you see right here on the screen. We have the Dow is down 2,100 points and is just about to go below the 19,000 mark. That is shocking how much, the Dow has lost in the past few days. Incredible. So this is a very bad day. Of course, if you're long, if you're short, you're probably enjoying your day. um, okay, I see your comment. This is a question or a comment from YouTube. Mark, thank you so much for submitting that. The question is, why can't TradeStation have multiple share bar charts loaded like you can do with time charts? And I believe, Mark, that you're referring to the drop down right here. So we have multiple time frames, and you're looking to have share bar loaded. A lot of you may use share bars, and it's true. If you come over here, we have some tick charts, we have some seconds, we have some minute, but we don't have any share bar. And share bar, for those that are not familiar with the functionality, is a way for you to build a chart based on the number of shares traded. So how do we build them? Well, I'm pretty sure that Mark knows, and you have to go through the menus to build them. So one thing that you can do is going here to the data tab or data button. Let me my phone for a moment. Okay, and go to edit symbol. Or the way that I like to do this, instead of using the menu, which is data and edit symbol, I always like to double click on the candles. It takes you to the. So I'm going to double click on one of the candles, and it takes me to customize symbol, which is exact same menu had you gone, the data and edit symbol way. And here in the settings tab is where you find the volume charts, and you can specify the number of shares. So let's say, for example, that I do a 5,000 share bar. Of course, this is going to be on the Dow Jones, which is kind of, there's no real volume for Dow Jones Industrial Index. But if I pull up Apple, for example, AAPL, this is going to load a chart that is built based on 5,000 shares traded. So every time that Apple trades 5,000 shares, I'm going to get a new candle, which is pretty active, or a pretty active chart for Apple. If I set it to 5,000, you can see that the 5,000 share bar is right here on the top left corner. A quick way that you can change the share bar amount is by just typing it in. I'm not sure if you've tried that, Mark, on your TradeStation, but I find that very easy on TradeStation. For example, I'm looking at a 5,000 share bar. If I'm going to turn this into a 20,000 share bar, all I need to do is type in 20,000. And I want you guys to look right here in the middle of the screen. I don't have to type in the word share next to it, because as you are in a particular time frame type, the chart will know exactly what to set it to. Let me just try the 20,000 only. I hit enter, and notice that it changes it to 20,000 share bar, with me just typing in a number. So now, instead of doing or having the 5,000 share bar, I have one that is 20,000. Now this is the same, or applies exactly the same when you have a minute chart. When you have, let's say, let me turn this into a 5-minute. I'm just going to use the command line again, because I use it a lot in my TradeStation. I think it's very easy for you to just type in a command, chart update with what you wanted to do. So notice that I've just typed in 5 space MIN, and if I hit enter, it creates a 5-minute chart of Apple. Now, if I type in any other number, let's say that I type 120, notice right here, I have 120, and I hit enter. Now this is a 120-minute chart. You can see it right here on the top left. But if you want to create a share bar, and you don't want to go through the menus like customize symbol and then going to the box and so forth, you can type it in. So I can type in 20,000 share. This time I'm typing the word share because I am on a minute chart, and I want it to be specific that I don't want a 20,000 minute chart. I want a 20,000 share bar. So that's a 20,000 share bar. I hit enter, and that's what loads up right here on my screen. Every time that Apple trades 20,000 shares, I'm going to have that loaded here. So if you want to be even higher, let's do a 1 million. I'm going to type in 1 million, hit enter, and the same concept applies. Now, this chart is going to build 1 million share bar. So every time that Apple trades 1 million shares, I'm going to get a new candlestick. All right. Yes, Kirill, everything is down. Futures, oil, natural gas. This morning I saw crude oil down to $24. I'm not sure what it is right now, but let me take a look. At CL. Wow. So crude oil is down to $20 now. So crude oil is down 23% since the close of yesterday. That is shocking. $20 per barrel. If I go back to a monthly chart, has oil ever been that low, and how far back? Well, crude oil, in this case, we don't have a lot of history on crude oil. This is the crude oil monthly contract at ZL. So don't have a lot of prices there. Wish I did. But it's interesting that this chart that I have here on the screen goes back to 2001, and oil has never been as low as it is today. Incredible. Okay, let's take a look at some other questions here. Craig is asking, due to the swings in the markets, I noticed that sometimes my matrix can't stay centered. Is there anything to change that? Craig, in a fast moving market, the frequency at which the matrix moves up and down can be tough to follow. And it's happened to me too, especially if you're looking at Apple, if you're looking at Amazon, something that trades very actively, and the prices are pretty hefty, then it's really hard to follow. Let me show you a couple tricks. Let me open up a matrix here. By the way, the matrix is automatically designed and it's built in to actually center every so often so that you always see the current price. So the only thing that I would suggest you do is play around with the axis increment. So I'm not sure if that didn't take. Let me go to apps again. Let me click on matrix. All right. So this is my matrix. If I bring up Apple, see, Apple is trading at 280, 238. Testing sound. Are you guys able to hear me? Anybody in the You Can Trade room? Yes, okay. Sorry about that. I lost connection for so that we can get back to where we were. Okay, so sorry about that. I must have lost the connection. So, yes, I was answering Craig's question, and I'm not sure if this is exactly what you wanted to do, but yes, doing it in the or playing around with the axis increment right here on the top right is going to pretty much help you manage the data on the matrix. Okay, so this is another question. Okay, from Mark, he's adding some clarification. He wants to have a 5,000 share bar overlaid on a 10,000 share chart. Okay, I see. Oh, I see what you're saying. So yes, what Mark is trying to ask is that he is overlaying data streams on top of each other, and when you go to a share bar, TradeStation doesn't allow it. Now, the reason why it doesn't allow it is because of aligning issues. You know, the only the only scale on which we can put the candlesticks is on a time scale at the bottom. So when you do a share bar, this is independent from time. So technically, TradeStation has no ability to align the candles with each other because you have different shares being traded at the amounts that you specify. So it's an alignment issue, and TradeStation is not capable of aligning those candles when you go to an activity-based chart, in this case, a share bar. So that's the reason why it's more of a technical issue or a way that TradeStation has been designed it that way that doesn't allow it. And if you try to do it, for those of you that are interested about on the idea of overlaying, activity charts, is um, it's something that you can do on TradeStation, overlay symbols on top of each other. Okay. Okay. All right, Craig. You missed my answer. That's totally fine. I'll repeat again. In a market that is fast moving, like for example, Apple, I have Apple right here on the screen. Let me set it the way that it comes by default. So this is the way that Apple loads up in the matrix, and you can see the prices up, jumping up and down. It's really hard to narrow down on the price of Apple as it is right now. So what we do is we use the axis increment right here on the top right, which controls the way in which the prices are displayed on the matrix. Apple is trading at $238. So probably the penny by penny movement is not as important, especially when you're trying to visualize the price movements. See, right now it's impossible to track the prices, and you've seen that my matrix is not centered anymore. So what we do is we change the way that the prices are displayed by using the axis increment right here on the top right. And what you can do is you can specify how you want the prices to be listed on the matrix. I did it on a quarter of a point, or 0.25, 25 cents. So if you just click up here, you're gonna notice that if you click, you're not gonna get a cursor per se, but just do a one click over there and type in the amount you want and then hit enter. Notice that I've just changed it to a quarter, and that's how the prices now are listed. It makes my matrix a little bit more stable. I'm able to see the prices, and they're not jumping off the screen in a volatile market. So always use the axis increment on the right or the top right for you to adjust the prices. Okay, let me see if there's any other questions. We have a couple people on You Can Trade, and we have more people here on YouTube. And I want to take this opportunity for those of you that are on YouTube, is to explain that this type of class, an interactive class where you ask me questions and I answer them in a live setting, is an example of what we do in the TradeStation Masterclass channel. The TradeStation Masterclass channel is a channel available on youcantrade.com. So if you haven't had a chance to go there, please check out the content. Membership is completely free. The TradeStation Masterclass channel has a 14-day free trial, and you can check out our classes there if you're interested in having some an instructor guide you through different settings on the platform. Okay, let's take a look at some other questions. How much does it cost to TradeStation chart analysis? Thank you for your question, Ali. One thing that I recommend if you have questions about how much TradeStation costs is to contact someone in the accounts department. An account representative is the best person that can answer questions about cost, pricing plans, and what is it required for you to have a TradeStation account. So if you go to tradestation.com and you look at the top of the page, you're going to find a phone number there. And you're also going to find a contact us link. In case you are not here in the US, we have some international numbers there as well. You can also get somebody in the chat also. Whenever you have questions about commissions or how to fund and open up a TradeStation account, our account services department is the best option for you. Okay. Any other questions? I'm going to stay here another few seconds. If you guys have any more questions about TradeStation, this is your opportunity to submit those questions right there in the chat. I'll hang on tight to see if anybody has any questions on the platform. Okay, we're looking at the different markets. This is the Dow Jones on a monthly interval. Let's go to a 5-minute. All right, so recovered a little bit. It did go down to 18,900. It hadn't broken, the 19,000 support, but it did just a few points, and now it recovered, and we're now at 19,100. Great. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate the comments. The feedback is always great, and I always, want to make sure that you guys have enough help to get you, where you want to go. A lot of you, are content with having just a couple of charts and some analysis techniques. But sometimes, you may have this idea that you wanted to always do on TradeStation, and figuring out how to do that on TradeStation is sometimes a challenge. I know you can get somebody on the phone from the technical support department, but sometimes, either there's long wait times, or you don't get somebody that actually answers the question for you. So having somebody that can address those questions for you directly is our main goal. This is from Kevin. Have platform 4 days high-low list in Radar. Not really sure what you mean, Kevin. So RadarScreen is a tool that we make available right here on TradeStation. He's mentioning 4 days high-low list in RadarScreen. Could you provide more details as to what you mean? And I can answer your question. So in the meantime, I'm going to restart my TradeStation. So give me just a moment while I do that. I'm going to use a utility here. For some reason, my TradeStation just crashed. Maybe this is not the first time you hear that. My TradeStation crashed. It's probably because I'm running a lot of things here. I'm not only running the room and click meeting, I'm also running the live stream to YouTube, and I'm also running TradeStation, which uses a lot of bandwidth. So that may have caused, a little hiccup here. Okay. So Kevin did a follow-up comment, and he's looking for a high-low in. He has a high-low in E-Trade. How to do it on TradeStation? Well, let's see. Let me go over here to my applications. I'm going to open up RadarScreen. New application. Let me go to RadarScreen. So what you're looking for is for RadarScreen to tell you what the 4-day high-low is in the market. So you want to go back 4 days and know what the highest high and the lowest low are. Is that what I'm trying to what you're trying to do? Let me add a list of symbols here. I'm going to do the Dow Jones, and I'm going to change the interval of all these symbols. I'm going to change them to daily. So it's using daily bars. And I'm going to use a study that is built into TradeStation. So I'm going to show you something, and you tell me if it's what you're looking for. I'm going to go here to a study that we call the price channel. A price channel, and then I'm just going to click OK or add it. Add it. I'm going to move it down so it's at the very end of my list of columns. I'm going to click OK. All right, and in here, this is looking at, it's creating a channel. Let me explain what is that you're looking at. And before I explain the numbers here, let's see how far back it's going. I'm going to right click on the price channel so I can edit it, go to studies and edit the price channel for all symbols. Okay, and here what I do is I'm going to go to the inputs, and this is going back 20 bars. So if I want to do a 4-bar channel, I just go 4 days back, I click OK, and that's going to give me the upper band and the lower band. This is like the high and the low for the past 4 days, highest high and lowest low. For example, if you look at Apple, the highest high was 279 and the lowest low is 238. Now look at the percentage here. This is the percentage at which the current price is in relationship to that channel, the highest high and the lowest low. Okay, that's an interesting way of looking at this study by looking at it, to a certain history, identifying the highest high and the lowest low and what the current price is in relationship to that channel. Okay, so that's something that you can do. And of course, this is not including the current bar. So for example, when you see some negative numbers here, like over here, I see Chevron, it says minus 53%, meaning that it's even below the lowest low of the past 4 days. Okay, not including the current bar. So that's something that you can do. Okay, so hopefully that helps. You can do it on all stocks, Kevin. I mean, this is the Dow Jones. It's just an example, but you can load up all the symbols that you'd like here on RadarScreen. One thing to keep in mind is that RadarScreen, there's a limit of 2,000 symbols. So even if you wanted to have all stocks here, RadarScreen is going to reach that limitation and is going to not let you load up all the symbols. But I think this is exactly what you're looking for. Okay, so let me go back here and see if I have any other questions. This is a question from Marcio. How many kind of level 2 depth tread? Okay, market depth data. So you're looking for market depth data or level 2. We have multiple levels that you can enable on your TradeStation. If anybody is interested on level 2 and you're not really sure what it is, when I brought up the matrix just a moment ago, let me go back to my trade bar. Let me open up my matrix. Okay, and let's say that we want to look at Apple. Okay, this is Apple, and market depth is the numbers that you see in the blue and the red. If you're not really familiar with what that is, it's just pretty much anybody that is interested in buying and selling Apple is going to be displayed in there. The buyers are going to be on the blue column, and the sellers are going to be in the red column. And you can see how much of an interest they have because you see the actual number of shares that are sitting there waiting to get filled. So anybody out there in the world who's interested in buying Apple, and they say, I'm going to send an order to buy Apple at $239 even. When you submit that order and that order is received by the market maker or ECN, they're going to show and display that order to everyone in the world. And that's exactly what you see here. What is available for buying and selling, and what the interest is for either side. If you want to turn this on, because by default, I'm not sure if it's not going to be turned on unless you tell us to turn it on. So if you do want to turn it on, everybody needs to go to the client center to do so. So let me see if I think I have the client center open somewhere here. I may have just closed it. Sorry about that. So let me go here and open up my TradeStation website. You're going to have to click on login right here at the top and go to the client center. Inside the client center, let me go ahead and type in my username and password. Okay, there's a button here that says add remove optional data services. I click there, and it's going to open up my subscriptions and show me what I have and what I don't have. I can click on this edit button at the top right, and if I go to the US market data, here is my equity and equity options data. And here's where the NASDAQ level 2 and OTC and enhanced market depth, these are where all those products are. You can turn those on and off right inside the client center. So hopefully that answers the question. We have everything that you would find in any other broker, and you can add as much or as little market depth information as you wish. Let's see, from Craig, I created a 2.5 range chart for 4 ticks and 10 ticks, but they looked and moved the same. What is the difference? Okay, let's take a look. I'm going to come over here to a chart. Okay, Craig is referencing range charts. Let's take a look at range charts for a moment. So I'm going to go here to studies. Actually, that's data and edit symbol. So that's range. And you're changing the interval. Okay. Range bars are going to be using a particular interval historically, and that's the reason why we have an interval there. Going forward, they should build exactly the same. So even if you have a 2.5, set the range to 2.5, and you are comparing a 5 tick versus a 10 tick, that only applies to historical data. But when you're watching a chart build in real time, and you're seeing the range of the bar being built, that is tick by tick. There's no way changing that. So as you receive tick by tick, your candles are being built in real time, and therefore they're going to look exactly the same. The number of ticks that you see here in this setting only applies to historical data, and how TradeStation looks at the data to build your range bars. So is it going to look at every single tick? Are you going to split up the data into 10 tick bars, and TradeStation will look at the open, high, low, close of each one of those bars? Or you can even go a little bit higher and say, well, for history, I want to look at 1 minute data. So don't look at every single tick. Look at 1 minute data and see how far the price went up and down, and that'll determine the historical building of this range bar. But it doesn't apply to the real-time bar building, because that is being built tick by tick in real time. So hopefully that answers the question. Okay, this is from Mark. So who is the best person in your opinion to help me automate trading for an indicator I wrote? Have everything but the auto execution complete. Well, Mark, you've got the hardest part done already, which is creating the idea and the indicator that actually drives buys and sells. So if you have an indicator created, and I'm not sure who created it for you, if it was you, it only takes a few steps to translate that into a strategy. It's a different easy language document than the study. the study or the indicator is meant to draw lines on the chart based on, on an idea, and then you're going to have some alerts based on that idea. On a strategy, you're using the same calculations, but instead of drawing a line or instead of triggering an alert, you are triggering orders. So let's say that you have an alert in your study that says, if the price crosses above this line, then generate the alert. That's what the study would say, the indicator. If it crosses above, I want you to generate an alert. In the strategy, it's the same calculation. If the price crosses above the line, but instead of giving me an alert, I want it to buy. Next bar at market or next bar at a certain price. It's up to you. So who's the best person to help you with that? If the study was created by you and you're just confirming that it was created by you, then you are the best person to create it into a strategy. Now, if you need help, you can go to the forums and see if somebody there can help you. But it's pretty simple. We are going to create a series of easy language classes in the TradeStation Masterclass channel. Starting next Monday, we're going to do a special strategy trading class. And in fact, I believe we're going to be sending out an email that promotes this strategy trading class, but it's starting on Monday. And first of all, it gives you a primer about what strategy trading is. And then we're going to follow up with another course, which is easy language basics, how to create indicators and how to create strategies. And we're going to go along and giving you a lot of information about how to customize your studies. So maybe an option would be to come to those classes, learn how to do it, and build it out yourself. Now, if you need help right now, then the best option would be the forums. We do have a dedicated team right here at TradeStation that answers questions on easy language, but via the forums. So there's not really somebody that you can call and get on the phone, but you can write your questions on the forum, and there's a team of several people that answer those posts with suggestions on what to do. All right. Okay, there's a question here. Is there a way of filtering a hot list, say for stocks that are only between 1 and 10? That's a great question. This is a question from Black Swan. Great question. So he wants to filter the hot list and only show stocks that are between 1 and 10. Let me show you how to do that. Because not a long time ago, we married hot lists with RadarScreen, which is a great combination and allows you to do exactly what you're looking for. So let me first of all describe what the problem is, and everybody will see what is it that you're trying to do. Let me open up a hot list window. Okay, this is the hot list. And let's suppose that in this hot list, we're looking at percent losers. That's fine. A lot of the market's losing ground right now. Here are the percent losers. The one on the top has lost 90% of its value since the close of yesterday. But if you look over here in the last traded price, a lot of these symbols are below $1, and a lot of them could be above 10. For example, we have here some at 12, some at $11. So it seems like we want to filter this using prices. The same thing happens here if you go to the percent gainers. Notice that we have symbols here that are $300, 128, 400. Let's do the percent gainers instead, since that's the one that has the highly priced values. So instead of opening up the hot list application, I'm going to open up the RadarScreen application. So let me open up RadarScreen. Okay, I have my RadarScreen already open. This is the one that we started off with the price channel. But over here at the bottom, I have multiple page, and I can right click on the page and add a new hot list. So I'm going to open up hot list from within RadarScreen. I'm going to click the hot list. Right over here, I can see the percent gainers. I'm going to increase the results to maybe 100. So these are 100% gainers. We can see the prices over here. They're all over the place. But by opening up the hot list inside of RadarScreen, I can use the filter bar up here, and I can say, give me the symbols that have a last trading price greater than 1, right? Then I'm going to add a plus here to add another row, and that have a last price less than 10. There we go. So we created 2 filter rows at the very top, and out of the 100 symbols that are in the hot list, that are the percent gainers, we have 21 symbols that are between $1 and $10. That's exactly how you do it, and I think it's great. This feature of combining hot list with RadarScreen opens up the doors to a lot more possibilities. All right. So I think I've answered all the questions for you. I appreciate the fact that you guys stayed here with me. I want to, again, emphasize that this class that we just did is an example of what we do in the TradeStation Masterclass channel. We want to make sure that you have all the resources to use your TradeStation in the way that makes sense to you and is efficient and, well, the best way to do it for in your particular case. Everyone trades differently, and we want to make sure that we serve a lot of content that pertains to the way that you use TradeStation. So I want everybody that's joined in class today to check out the content of the TradeStation Masterclass channel. The channel is part of the You Can Trade website. It's a free membership to become a member of the website, and then you have access to the channels that TradeStation is hosting. So I want to invite everyone to check us out there. Thank you, everyone, for your participation. It was a great class. Your questions were awesome, and I hope to see you in a future event right here at TradeStation. And I wish you good luck in your trading and stay safe from this terrible pandemic that we're all experiencing. Have a great afternoon. See you next event.